I'm back. I have decided to do a part two of my show, Faith versus Religion. And this one is also going to be subtitled The Devil Made Me Do It. But let's start where we left off in the last show, where I was saying that having faith or religion does not absolve you from personal responsibility. And I talked a little bit about people who say that they look so forward to going to heaven, but then when they get sick, they're like, well, not today. I need prayers. Help. Please, I don't want to die. And there's another little part of that. It's a short part. But there are also these people who, for example, they will go into debt to do, what is it called? IVF, in vitro fertilization, when they can't have children. Instead of letting go and letting God, as what they preach, let go and let God, they don't accept that God hasn't blessed them with a child the old-fashioned way, so they will go out and spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And that to me sounds like they're going against God's plan for them. Because if God wanted you to have a child, you would have gotten pregnant. Right? And then these people, after going into all this debt because they believe they are owed a child because they want one, they find themselves unable to care for that child because they're in all this debt that they spent to have one. I think the bottom line is, if you want to say let go and let God, and you say that your Christianity and your beliefs are so important to you, then shouldn't you have to abide by supposedly God's plan for you? Okay, just another question to put out there because there's a lot to get to. We talked about faith versus religion and the fact that many religions are more about controlling their parishioners than actually counseling them, and that it's about money. And we know it's about money. And yet, that's the other thing we have to understand. It should never be about the priest. It should never be about benefiting him or her. It shouldn't be about their salary. It shouldn't be about the kind of house they live in. People who minister are supposed to live humbly. They are supposed to be humble people. They are supposed to be servants of God, not servants of the almighty dollar. They should never be charging you for spiritual counseling. They should never be charging you to baptize your child as a Christian. They shouldn't be charging you to join you in holy matrimony. They certainly shouldn't be charging you for Holy Communion. It's just not right. It's not right. I want to make sure I get to everything, so I do have an outline today. My husband was raised in the Methodist Church, and they do something interesting in his church. Is they only allow a pastor to come in for a certain amount of time, like a term, like a president or a congressperson. You are there and then you're gone, and they bring someone else in. And what this allows is for the church to become a living and breathing thing. And it changes with the times. Now, in some of these other churches, like the Greek Orthodox Church, the Catholic churches, there is one priest for 50 or 60 years. And what that ends up meaning is that the church doesn't change with the times. The church doesn't follow the younger generations of parishioners coming up. People like myself who start questioning, well, why can't I marry a Jewish person? Why can't I get married in another church? Why can't I get married in a park? Why do I have to pay $600 to get married in a building? In a 2-hour marriage ceremony that half of it I don't even understand. Why? It makes no sense. I would suggest this if you're looking to join a church, or if you're just looking at your own church. If it has an archdiocese, like the Catholic Church and the Greek Orthodox Church does, and what the archdiocese actually is, it's the bunch of old men with really long beards who wear little black hats and little black dresses and sit around a table and make rules. Rules that have nothing to do with the Bible. Rules that allow priests to control their parishioners. And, of course, to get the most money out of them. Like saying, we won't baptize your child unless you bring your checkbook and pay us $400. Otherwise, we don't need to baptize your child. They're not part of the church till you pay. Churches that actually give 3-year-olds little dues envelopes that they're supposed to stuff with their little money every week. They teach them young in some churches. Yeah, the Greek church, they give 3-year-olds envelopes to put money in and put in the offering basket every week. Imagine. Yeah, 3 years old. Aren't mommy and daddy paying enough? We know the Catholic Church, for decades, protected pedophiles. They put church before sexual assault on these innocent young boys. When it got too hot in one parish, they just moved the priest to another one. Because God forbid this came out and the church got a bad reputation. It was protect the church before these innocent victims of sexual assault. That's what we talked about in the last show. Putting church before people. The church is supposed to be people. Remember? Here is the church. Here is the steeple. Open the doors. There are all the people. The people should matter more than the church, than the building, than the rules. A church should be like the Constitution, a living, breathing thing. And as the times change, the rules should change. When my mother was expelled from her church that she adored, that she loved, that she was so loyal to for 60-some years, I did something about it. Nobody else did. None of her Greek friends stood up for her or said, hey, this is wrong. They didn't write the archdiocese. I did. I wrote the Greek archdiocese several letters. One that was published in a newsletter, and where I found Greek people from all over the country who actually agreed with me that these rules should be changed. They haven't changed, but at least I found other Greek Orthodox people to say, wait a minute, you're right, this is ridiculous. They should not have treated your mother like this. Faith and religion, so different. It is so different. The one thing that is always interesting to me is that I didn't know this until my husband was actually interrogated about it. When he went up to Christmas Eve, he went to the Greek church with me and my mother. She was playing the organ, and he wanted to take communion because he always takes communion on Christmas Eve in his church. What's the big deal, right? So my mother said, they don't know you here. It's no big deal. Just go up. It'll be fine. Except we went to the one priest that didn't know my husband, but Father Aronis was standing right next to him, and he looked at this guy and said, he's not Greek. So this guy says to my husband, are you an Orthodox Christian? And my husband paused. This beautiful man who loved me for all my foibles, all my flaws, was in love with me enough to come to this church he'd never stepped foot in before, to make my mom and me happy, to try it out, see if he might want to join it. He's being interrogated in front of 500 people on Christmas Eve in order to receive the body and blood of his Lord Jesus Christ. Now, my husband is a baptized Christian. He was baptized in the Methodist Church. So my husband, my Marine hero, said to this priest, well, I'm a Christian. Nope, no communion for you. Next. Like the soup Nazi, we had the communion Nazi. And that's when I found something out that I do find interesting, and I'd love to hear the singing chaplain's view on this. Are there really levels of Christianity? Like a Greek Orthodox Christian is up here, but a baptized Methodist Christian is down here? Is a Catholic better than a Lutheran? Is that really how it works? Because, see, I thought Christians were Christians. They all believe that Jesus is the Son of God. They're supposed to accept Jesus as their Savior. Where are these levels coming from? Why are Greek Orthodox up here and my poor Marine hero husband, a baptized Christian Methodist, down here? Not worthy to accept Holy Communion in the Greek Orthodox Church, or the Catholic Church for that matter. They wouldn't give him communion either. What is that about? Who makes these rules? You know, it used to be, I know at least in the Greek Orthodox Church, again, it's what I know, that parents tried very hard to make sure that their children only had Greek friends, that they spent more time at church than they did with their school friends, with their American friends, even though their kids are just as American as everybody else. But Greek was special. They hoped that their children would marry a Greek, just like Catholics hope their children will marry a Catholic and Jews hope their children will marry a Jew. But it doesn't work out that way anymore. Because the children's lives are expanding. More children now go off to college after high school, and they meet people from all different faiths. And they fall in love. And then they come home and they're told, well, you can't marry that person. She's a Jew. What? I don't even care. What do I care if she's a Jew or not? I love her. I want to spend my life with her. Well, if you marry her, can't come to church anymore. Can't take communion anymore. Wow. Interesting story between Greeks and Catholics. Greek Orthodox, Catholic. If you are a Greek Orthodox and you fall in love with a Catholic, that's kind of okay. At least it used to be. Again, I haven't been there for a while, but it happened. That you have to get married in the Greek church. They want their money. You got to pay the Greek church to marry you. But a Catholic person who wants to stay Catholic can have the Catholic priest come over and co-officiate the wedding. Now, of course, it makes an already overlong 2-hour ceremony even longer, but it can be done. And then it's okay if you want to go 1 week to the Greek church and 1 week to the Catholic church with your kids. That's cool. But if you're in love with a Jewish person and you want a rabbi to come to the Greek church and marry you, oh, that ain't going to happen. No, that's not going to happen. She's got to convert. She's got to give up her Jewish faith and join the Greek Orthodox cult. Same thing with the Catholics. You got to join the cult, or you're not coming to this church. We are disavowing you. Is that really what Jesus intended with his ministry? That people would be judged by who they fell in love with or what building they married in? Jesus was a Jew. Are we forgetting that? And yet the one thing that that is drilled into our minds in Sunday school and in church, you cannot marry a Jew. I spoke after this whole thing happened with my mom. Again, I tried to do something about it. I made it very loud. I brought it out into the public. It didn't do any good, but at least I tried. I did more than most people did. And along the way, I made some friends. And there is a wonderful priest, I'm not going to say his name, but he's lovely. And he's a Russian Orthodox priest. I think I just gave it away, but I love this man. He was such a wonderful priest when he worked for a short time at the Greek Orthodox Church. And he was someone I could speak with because he was not only a priest, he was educated. He is a college professor. And I called him on the phone. And I started to tell him what was happening with my mother. And he told me a story, and he said, look, my son is marrying a Jewish girl. We love her. She's lovely. I can't marry them. And after my son marries her, I cannot give him communion in the Orthodox Church anymore. He said, yes, that breaks my heart, but it would break my heart more if my son could not marry the woman he loves. and whom we love. She's going to be our daughter. This is what this church does. It splits families. I think one of the greatest honors, if you are a priest, would be to marry your child to the person that they want to spend the rest of their life with. But this church and its antiquated draconian rules that have nothing to do with the Bible and nothing to do with faith and nothing to do with Jesus prevented this wonderful man from marrying his son. How sad is that? How sad is having to deny your son the body and blood of Jesus Christ in the church that he was baptized in, simply because he married a lovely girl who happens to be Jewish? The same religion as Jesus Christ himself. That's sad, isn't it? Now, before this show goes long, let me start by saying that the other thing that Chris Adams wrote in his letter was about that Satan gets a lot of credit for stuff too. That's actually not his fault. We've all heard the devil made me do it. No, see, you didn't kill your wife because Satan told you to. You did it because you're a sick son of a bitch. But people have used the devil excuse. I was possessed. I don't know what came over me. There was a devil inside me. The devil made me do it. Satan causes wars. No, people cause wars. Satan shoots up high schools. No, people shoot up high schools with the guns that they're allowed to buy because our government doesn't have good gun laws. And they don't enforce the laws we have. But so I have to thank Chris Adams for that one, because that is true. Satan gets as much credit as God does. Satan usually gets the blame, while God gets the credit for the good stuff. So that I thought I would point out, because when Chris wrote it, I thought that was interesting as well. And I want to remember whatever you take away from this. And again, I respect all of you. You know I do. And I have actually been interested in so many different religions and read some books on all of them. And I find them all attractive in their own way. And I understand why people are drawn to them. But at the end of the day, at the end of this show, what I want you to take away is free will. And never give up your free will to go along with the will of someone else, another human being. If you want to be a good Christian, then you read the Bible. You listen to what Jesus actually said. And you live your life as a good human being. Because at the end of the day, that is what brings all religions together. And I don't care, some of you are going to start making snarky comments about Muslims and Islam, and I don't want to hear it. That is so over. Islam is a peaceful religion. Christianity is a peaceful religion. Yes, wars have been started because of it, but not because of the religion, because of people's crazed misinterpretation of the Quran and of the Holy Bible. That is how wars get started. Hitler did not kill the Jews because they celebrated the Sabbath. He killed the Jews because he thought they were making more money than they deserved to make, that they were overpowering Germany. It really didn't have anything to do with religion, because he killed gypsies and homosexuals too. And they weren't Jewish, by the way. He tried to kill anybody who was different than him. And I'm reading a book about Hitler right now that is, I'll probably share with you at some point. It's a little hard to get through, so I'm reading it slowly. But, yeah, it really didn't have anything to do with the Jewish faith or the religion. It was about jealousy. It was about wanting to be more powerful and wanting the Aryan race to take over, rather than anyone who was not a blonde, blue-eyed Aryan German. So let's not confuse faith with religion, And let's not confuse religion with faith. I don't go to church. And I'm not sure I can even call myself a Christian and have Christians say, oh, yeah, right, you're really a Christian. I do have faith. I have faith that the moon's going to come out tonight. And it probably will. Now, should I thank God for that, or should I thank the fact that that's the way the earth goes? It happens every night. The moon comes out. It might be cloudy tonight, so I won't see the moon. Am I supposed to say, oh my God, the moon's not out, it's the end of the world? No, it's a cloudy night. The clouds are covering the moon. I have faith in my husband. I have faith that he loves me as he should, that he puts me and our family first, that he will get up and go to work every day for as long as he is able to take care of us. I have faith in my dog. I have faith that every day she will be a pain in my ass, but I will just love her so much because she will do something that makes me laugh so hard or makes me smile, and she's just so darn cute that all will be forgiven. I have faith in myself. I have faith in me that while I will not come out and say there is no God or God is dead, I will leave that open. But unlike some who want a payday, I don't want anything. I told Chris Adams, and I wrote this on my public page, that I really hope there is a God. I do. Because so many people invest so much into the fact that there is, and I would so much hate for them to be disappointed. My mother is one of those people. She didn't want to die, but she believed that when she did die, she was going to go to heaven and be with her husband and her parents and those who went before her. And I really, really hope that she did. I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that I do have faith. But that faith tends to wane when I see people, like the people I talked about yesterday, refusing to do their job of baking a wedding cake because they so hate fellow human beings simply because of who they chose to love. That makes me very sad. That makes me lose faith. Because whatever you believe, Jesus Christ was a real person. I've read a lot about him. He wouldn't approve of the way we treat our fellow human beings in 2017. Whether he is the Son of God or just an awesome prophet who was given the gift of being able to do miracles. Maybe he was a doctor and a healer before the term doctor was used. Who knows? I certainly don't. And believe me, none of these preachers, these priests that you pay a lot of money, they don't know either. They hope. And they have faith. And you should have faith as well. But let's remember that Jesus preached love. And that's something that, unfortunately, I no longer have faith in our society. Because all we see on the news every day is hate. That's what needs to change. And you can call yourself a Christian, you can call yourself an atheist, you can call yourself a Jew, you can call yourself a Muslim. At the end of the day, if you don't have love in your heart, you're nothing. Political Paula, out.